Hi everybody, welcome back. Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part video where we're configuring an ESP32 microcontroller. We'll be installing MicroPython on it. In this part, we are going to connect to the microcontroller, we're going to erase it, and then we're going to install MicroPython. So let's get started. We will go into our virtual environment that we created in the first video, first part. So we'll open up a command line, the terminal. We'll have to cd into our installation directory because we did not add it to our path when we did the installation of Conda. So this will be Anaconda 3. We'll change into that directory, and then we will go into Conda bin. So we'll change to the Conda bin directory. Okay, and there's our conda.bat file, which we use to enter our virtual environment. So we'll type conda activate, and our virtual environment that we created was ESPTool. And you can see on the left-hand side the ESPTool in the parentheses. That tells us that we're now in our virtual environment. So our next step is to connect to our microcontroller. One step that we need to take care of first, which is probably going to be a factor for everybody. In my case, I don't have the issue because I've gone through this process before. Let's go to a device manager, and let's see. We should have a connection in here for Silicon Labs. USB driver. Let me look in here. Yeah, so it's the CP210X installer. That's the driver that we need to install in order to be able to communicate with the ESP32 when we connect through the USB port. So we go to Google Chrome. Let's type in Silicon Labs CP210X. That is not what I'm looking for. And we need to go here. Go to downloads. And we'll select Windows driver down here. I believe that's the one that we have here. So let's go ahead and download that. Done. Let's go to our Downloads folder. Let's grab this, cut. Let's go to our staging area downloads folder. The one we created on our desktop, or I created on my desktop anyway. I don't know what you did. Let's see. And this is a zip file, so we'll right click, extract all, and just hit the default location. Here we go, and we will run 64-bit installer. Run as administrator. Yes. Next. Accept the agreement. Next. And finish. Let's see what shows up here. Should be an option to refresh. And it may not show up until we actually plug in the device, but that's required in order to be able to connect. Let's minimize all of this and let's connect our device. We'll need a USB connector. This is the connector that we need, a cable. It has the USB type A and then the micro B well, type A on one end and then micro B on the other end. So make sure you have that. And we will plug in. And you should see a red light on the microcontroller once connection's made, once it's plugged into the USB port. Now let's check here again. There it is. Now that it's plugged in, you see the Silicon Labs CP210X bridge driver, and it's set to COM4. If you want to change the COM port, which I don't really, under regular circumstances, see why that's necessary, but you would go there and then to port settings, advanced, and you can change the port here to whatever you want. I just select the default. I would recommend the default unless there's some reason not to. We'll cancel out of this, close that. Now we are going to run the erase command and erase the microcontroller. Chip is ESP32. Port is, in this case, 4. The baud rate is 460800. And erase underscore flash. Let me make sure I have this correct. And that looks correct. So hit enter and it should all right. Well, let me back out of this. Let me get rid of I went a little ahead of myself, so let's try this. There, now you see it connecting and it's going through the erase process. And it should complete momentarily. And complete. Okay, so we've erased our microcontroller. Now it's time to install MicroPython. Back out of this. Just take off the erase flash part. The rest is part of the next command. So this will be write flash, write underscore flash minus Z flash mode DIO. That's flash underscore mode DIO. And then flash frequency flash underscore freq FREQ 40M and 0 by 1000. And then the path to the installation file, the bin file, which is stored on our desktop in our downloads folder or wherever you saved it from the first video. And then I prefer to do this, read aim, copy this, and we should be able to flash the device now. So let's hit enter. And there we go. We're installing MicroPython. Should take a couple minutes, maybe less, to complete. Yeah, it's going pretty quick, so less. So give it a second here. And complete. The device is resetting. Now we can tell if we can check the device to see MicroPython's installed. So we'll open Thonny comp4 and we have MicroPython version 1.21.0, which is the version we downloaded on our ESP32. This area here, this Thonny is where we're going to continue on in the third video, the third part. This is where we'll do our programming. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part 3. We'll be doing a basic configuration of the microcontroller and we'll set it up to connect to our wireless network. Thank you. See you next time.